What's up, y'all? Welcome in. My name is Tanisha, and I've been living in Southeast Asia for a year and a half now. I moved in March of 2024. It is October, what is today? The 29th, 2025. I'm just coming on here for the first time doing a long form video. Long form content really isn't my thing. If you guys want to follow me on TT, it's the same handle as here. But anyways, let's get into it. Why did I move to Southeast Asia? So guys, first and foremost, the number one reason people believe that most Americans and other foreigners move to countries like Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam is because of quality of life. Is because of affordable living. Yes, affordable living is the number one reason for a lot of people, but mine was the quality of life, safety, better food, better health care, and then affordability comes into that ballpark. So right now I am sitting in my condo, and I will show you guys a quick video of my condo, and I currently pay $385 a month for a 6-month lease. I just renewed my lease for a year, so now I'm going to be paying $335. My condo is about 35 square meters, so it is on the smaller side, but it is a 1 bedroom. It is not a studio. So before living in Thailand, I lived in Indonesia for 14 months, specifically Bali. I lived in Kendugu first, then Sese, or no, was it Sese? It was either Sese or Chamagi. It was like on the border of both. And then I finally, unfortunately, ended up in Batu Bolong, which is pretty much Canggu. So when it comes to Bali, I do recommend it for a vacation. However, living there long term wasn't my favorite. I really liked my first studio apartment in Kendugu. It was a little bit further out from the central areas of Canggu, Seminyak, Kuta, but it was on the pricier side to be so far away. Yes, it did have some great amenities. It had a community pool, 24-hour security. The scenery was absolutely beautiful. In the back of my apartment, I had a view of the rice fields, and in the front, I had a mountain view. However, it always took me 20 to 30 minutes to get to the central area of Bali, and 9 times out of 10, I would always end up in the central area. So after about 4 months, that rent was like $670 by the time I transferred it over to them via Wise. And then they required a 2 million deposit, which was about 120 USD, and that went towards electricity and the water bill. So after 4 months of living there, I found a studio in Chamagi or Sese. I can't remember which one it was. And it was pretty much a quadplex. There was 2 units on the bottom floor and 2 units on the top floor. But at the current time, it was just me and the landlord that stayed in the building. I really, really loved this particular studio just because it was very modern. It was up to date. The bathroom had like gold fixtures. It was clean. My only issue was that it was extremely small. It was definitely the smallest place that I had ever lived in my life or since I've been living abroad. It had an amazing view though. Like it had an amazing view. You could see the ocean and the rice fields. It also had a rooftop that I pretty much had to myself unless the landlord came up there. So honestly, what sold me was the view, and like I said, the modernness of the studio. And another feature I liked was that on the wall it was a mounted water filter, so I didn't have to pay for water as the drinking water in or the tap water in Bali or Indonesia and overall is unsafe to drink. However, after about 2 months of living there, me and my landlord, we had a deal that we had locked in for my monthly rent, and she decided to renege on it about 2 months into it for honestly no really clear reason. And then on top of her reneging, she also told me a week before the rent was due. So she basically had me messed up. Like, lady, you're not about to tell me a new price for my rent that's literally 50% more. I was paying about $400 USD, and she wanted to raise it to 600. Absolutely not. So she thought she could, shake me down and scare me. Like, we got into a huge fight. And what really hurt my feelings about it was I had started to consider her as a friend. Like, when I tell you, me and this lady had 1 to 2 hour conversations at least like once or twice a week. So for her to just do a 180, like, mind you, when she did this, she wasn't in Bali, she was in Lombok. And it was just me and her niece that were staying in the duplex. So when she came back to collect her money for the rent, I gave her $400. And she's like, "What's this?" And I said, "The rent." And she's like, "Oh, you didn't get my text. I'm raising the rent, da da da." I was like, "Okay, well, we had a deal. And then, second of all, you're not going to force me to pay more money a week before the rent is due." So, long story short, she threatened to kick me out. She told me she wasn't going to give me my deposit back, but I still stood my ground. I stood my ground. We ended up just, making a peace agreement and said, "Okay, listen, I'm gonna give you the 400. I'm gonna stay the 30 days, and then I will move out." So when it came time to move out, she started acting funny again. This lady was literally counting hangers, forks, just being petty as hell, trying her hardest not to give me my deposit back. So, I've dealt with both sides of the story. I've dealt with renting directly from the owner, and I've dealt with going through an agent. And honestly, the agents have been the most successful for me. My last apartment in Bali, I got through an agent, and she was amazing. Like, she was very responsive, willing to try to take care of any, issues that I had in the apartment because I had the air conditioner break a few times. And she returned me my deposit. In Thailand so far, I have been dealing with an agent, and she's been great as well. I also communicate with the owner. The owner has been great as well. Anything I asked for, he was like, "Just let me know." So it's been good. That's not everybody's situation, unfortunately. People are scammed out here and taken advantage of as far as getting their deposits back. And if they have any issues with maintenance, sometimes the Indonesians and the Thai people will take their damn time because they don't want to fix it because it costs them money, or they'll try to cheap it out and halfway fix it. Like, I want to say something else, but I can't say it on YouTube. But yeah, they do like the ghetto version of trying to fix it. And normally, it's not fixed correctly, and then they have to end up spending, more money overall to get it fixed if they would have just did it the right way. So that's been my experience as far as renting and leasing condos and apartments in Southeast Asia. So it is up to you whether you want to try to deal directly with the owner or if you want to try to deal with a agent. A lot of the times in Facebook groups, depending on the country, if you make an ad saying, "Hey, I would like this, I would like that. Um, this is the price range I'm looking for. This is how many bedrooms. This is location." A lot of the times, owners or agents will reach out to you guys. But at the end of the day, make sure you don't give anybody any money without actually seeing the property, because there are scammers out here. And some of them are very elaborate scams that sometimes I believe the owners or the agents are in on it together. Like, I've heard people of stories where the scammers rented out the place for a whole week and pretended to be agents. And, they were able to show the people the property because they had the keys, because they were renting it out for a week, like an Airbnb situation. And then these people would move in, and then all of a sudden the owner would come back and be like, "Who are you?" So in situations like that, I kind of feel like, was the owner in on it, or did they really just come up with this elaborate scam on their own? Who knows? But at the end of the day, you're going to take a leap of faith based on what might or might not happen. So at the end of the day, I still do highly recommend moving abroad if you've been thinking about it. Southeast Asia, specifically for women, in my opinion, solo travelers, families, single moms. because my main thing that is important to me, besides quality of life and affordability, is safety. And since I've been here, I have not been in any situation that really made me uncomfortable when it came to the locals. Um, you know, Unfortunately, there was one incident in Vietnam with some Nigerian men that tried to follow one of my friends, and then also, pulled up on me aggressively on the motorbike when they saw that I was walking by myself. But as far as the locals are concerned, they pretty much mind their business. You respect them, they respect you. So overall, guys, a year and a half of living abroad, 10 out of 10. I still recommend it. A lot of people do ask me, do I get lonely? Do I miss my family? Blase, blase. Like of course, at some point in time, you're going to, be like, oh, I miss certain things about back home, or I miss this certain family member. That's just going to be natural. But to me, there is a difference between being alone and being lonely. And there are a lot of expat groups out here, you guys, on Facebook. I do offer an ebook that I will link in this description. It is pretty much a starter guide on how to move to Thailand, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, all of that. And I call it a starter guide because it's going to build you a foundation. But at the end of the day, everybody should be doing their own research on their own specific needs and requirements of every country. Don't just move over somewhere because it's cheap or it looks glamorous on social media. Do your research. And a lot of people, they don't know how to decide on what country they want to live in. So when it comes to that, I say use ChatGPT. Tell ChatGPT what you're looking for, what you're interested in, what prices you want to pay, what's non-negotiables, and it will come back with a list of countries. If you don't want to be overwhelmed, just say, give me the top 3 or the top 5. And then that will kind of build a foundation for you to be like, okay, listen, this particular country stands out to me. This particular country stands out to me. Now I have 2 that I want to look into. Let me do my research. Let me find other influencers on either here, TikTok, wherever, that look like me, and see what their experiences are, what their point of views are, because I'm out here solo. So people with kids and, or single moms, whatever, families, they may not want to listen to my point of view because it's going to be different for what they're looking for. So if that's the case, find somebody who has kids or is doing it, as a single mom or single dad, whatever the case may be. So I'm here to advocate for everyone, but at the end of the day, like, you have to align with someone who is doing what you want to do and is coming from the background that you came from or similar. So yeah, guys, this is my first time doing a long-term video, or long-term videos, long form video. So don't come for me in the comments, whatever, but I'm just giving you guys a little piece of advice if you are thinking about relocating. So I will be doing more long form videos. I'm not really going to put a lot of effort into editing this one because for my first one, I doubt YouTube is really going to push it out like that. But hey, you never know. But anyway, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be alerted every time I do drop my shorts or my long form videos. Once again, my name is Tanisha. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I will see you guys next time.